What's something that has disappeared over the last decade that you wish hasn't? 24-hour diners. Buttons and knobs in cars. You spent 10 years drilling into my head that I shouldn't use my phone whilst driving, then stuck a big ass screen right into every car. I'd like to just hit a button or rotate a knob and know the job's done, not navigate a fucking menu. Paying once for something you get to keep and continue to use. Late night coffee shops. Affordable housing and 20-episode seasons. Analog stuff. Having everything digital is oppressive. I just want a refrigerator. My hair. Do physical releases for media. One of my favorite gaming memories is the Halo 3 release in my small town GameStop. We had like 400 people pick the game up at midnight. It was a ridiculous hype party with a bunch of people with the same interests gathered together chatting. You don't get the same thing with digital release. There are benefits to a digital release as well, but dang, I miss the release night hype that came with blockbuster games releases. A sense of community among people who are actually physically in your community. Subway's $5 foot long. Streaming without ads. Not that there was much, but a little bit of class and respect in politics. The idea that our elected leaders and representatives hold respect for the offices they hold is all but gone. Quality over quantity profits. Affordable housing. Stores that were open 24 hours. Third spaces. Built-in computer optical disk drives. Being able to own Microsoft Office and Adobe Photoshop without paying for ongoing subscriptions. Respect for each other. I feel like respect's rare nowadays. Reasonable prices, smiley face. Housing, food, all of it. Third places. Even when they do exist, it's so expensive. I can't afford a $10 coffee every day just to have somewhere other than my house to hang out. 3 bean salad from my local Costco. The nerve. RSVPing to an event and then actually following through on attending. My sanity. Top-loading washing machines and appliances that are mechanical rather than relying on computer motherboards costing as much as the appliance's original price. It's almost better to just purchase a new appliance than replace a major electronic part such as a controller circuit board. They certainly don't make things like they used to. Critical thinking skills. When calling customer service, or any company, for help questions, getting a real person right away. The American middle class. Less than $100 for groceries. Affordable rent. Radio Shack. When you're busy doing anything, for work or for fun, involving any kind of electronics and you find yourself needing some kind of weird little adapter or cable or whatever and you have to order online and wait a couple days for it to arrive. I miss being able to drive 10 minutes and just grab whatever I need. Privacy. Shame? Sweet tomatoes and hometown buffet. The entire essence of new music at the music store, the smell of the music store, the feeling of discovery. The listening stations. Anticipating that new release, and being ready to go grab it. Listening to an entire album in the order it was intended, and entering the band's world in that exact time of their lives. Reading the lyrics from the insert, and appreciating the art photos inside. These days there's value in the convenience, and picking songs from a list. But, we no longer experience music like a story unfolding. It's all about that hit song, it seems. Betty White. Phone booths. Sometimes you need to make an anonymous call, lol. Hanging out without phones. Barney the dinosaur and friends. I thought I just wasn't seeing Barney anymore because I had grown up. Then my brother and friends started popping out babies over the past few years, and I realized that their kids aren't watching Barney. The stores aren't selling Barney merchandise. No mention of it on TV. Barney just vanished from the face of the earth and no one seemed to talk about it. What happened to that purple fucker? Stores that were open 24/7 before the pandemic stuff. Decent used cars for cheap. Empathy and kindness. My will to live. Bipartisanship in Congress. Actually owning something. Everything is a subscription nowadays. Altoids sours. Winter? It hasn't really felt like an actual season in recent years, more like a brief cold spell. Roe v. Wade. Journalism, reality, truth. More like 2 decades, but when buildings, businesses, and other places had personality and were distinguishable from each other. Now everything is the most basic and boring blend of sleek. Regular dating and not hookup culture. Buying something and not having an app or needing to provide an email address. People at least being somewhat respectful to the disabled, even if it's just keeping their thoughts to themselves. I don't want to hear about how I can't use a disabled buggy in the grocery store just because I'm not wearing my knee brace at that moment or didn't bring my cane inside that day. If someone's using a disabled buggy, it's not your business why, and people need to remember that hidden disabilities are more common than people think. Maybe it's just a southern problem, but dear fucking lords. Good manners, basic respect, common sense. Personal accountability. Kindness? iPods, had so much fun memories with mine. Good movies at theaters. Libraries without controversy. Maps at car rental counters. I went to 3 gas stations outside LAX, no maps there either. My sanity. Oh, and glaciers. Bookstores. I know it's been a longer than a 10-year death, but for God's sake, bookstores should be a part of community health. Common sense. Newspapers. We used to wake up to the sound of the NY Times hitting our apartment front door and the neighbors. Papers here. Car keys. I know they are still around. I just want to be able to go to the locksmith and get one made for $5 instead of $500 at the dealership because it has to be programmed. Accountability. Common decency. Civility. Common sense and logical thinking. Common courtesy. Hope even if it was a dream. David Bowie. Any semblance of a social life. Customer service.